Hello, everyone. My name is Trey. I am recording pages 161 through 170. Poster 23895381 says, Big Wave makes the best future funk. Anonymous replies with a link that will be found below and says, I'm an acolyte that follows the dogma of the groove being in the heart and the funk in the hump. You cannot deny my truths. Another anonymous replying says, Exactly, as I and you also are and are not or once were and will be and / or beyond. And then continues, as you and I and we and the funk have at all previous input of existence up to this point that it makes clearly more and more current sense to us, and we are continuously, interchangeably, and simultaneously having calculable, and relatable effect to everything and influencing that data, round and round, loop after loop, until further progress is made or not and beyond, further resulting and expanding from these moments. Anonymous then replies, more observable data and input over all the senses. I know of this song and video and can save it and share it forever until I or we can't, don't, or won't, and beyond. This is output communicating and influencing input and feeding the funk further. Groovy song, by the way, and wonderful description, future funk. Please describe everything I do to also be relatable to future funk, and also I enjoy your input to that degree of relation. Anonymous then replies to the same user. Yes and no, but I enjoy that you are feeding the funk. Praise Big Wave and Future Funk and the rest of the past and future that led up to these moments of perceptive interpretation. Praise the funk. But again, directing in a constructive way. Don't go about it forcefully, shoving this information into another input of perception, being, and / or experience, but instead have patience and the further understanding of how to save yourself inside of that data and influence it of your worth to it and the proposal and understanding of it all. For the most constructive progress we need to open up to the funk rather than dismiss it. And it is when we do that that more answers are found from the information of the haven'ts or impossibles and become closer to the possible or reality. Another anonymous replies, You are making significantly or increasingly a similar argument to what I'm expressing, and so our answers are both true and not beyond. Fantastic work on your existence and influence and our further work on approaching the observations and knowledge of the patterns that led us here. Then Patricia Thundercat Un says, Good beyond. These were 4 heart emojis that were translatable as 4 heart emojis. Then Sean Penalber says, I see you continuously more and more understanding of how we are influencing each other and the study of influence and effect within and without the funk. Anonymous then replies, Hey, if we're steering the future of the funk right here and right now, then put some sonic youth in it, please, with a YouTube link below. Another anonymous then replies, Is it deja vu when my sister said the exact same thing she did 23 times before? Another anonymous replies, I just feel tired. Another anonymous reply, Hell yeah, feed us. Everyone and everything else observe this influence. I request from this moment on that if I or you understand this or these further influences of the funk that also relay a heart, when you are either finished with your statement of feeling within it, when you know, in parentheses, and closer understand this influence of the funk, and I will know that you are at that now closer level of information toward it. I and we predicted it to also be the interpretation of the heart to have significant influence, and that we are putting that into play now. So heart to everyone, to everything before this moment and after. Another anonymous reply. Yes, it is an expansion of those moments and everything leading up to the event of significant data. I have never known you or your sister up to this point, but we have somehow accessed the archives of information on how to get there and are advancing with that knowledge through our experiences. Heart. Another anonymous reply. Trust me, that is a huge pattern within the funk. A lot of it for us is exhausting, but we somehow currently find ways in and out of it. I'm suggesting check the pineal gland more and attempt to experience hypnagogia to further understand or prove all this to be incorrect or a mixture of, and thus attributing to the future solution and existence of everything. That and every other pattern/patterns that you and I see and/or will see and experience are and will be there eventually within the funk and without. Heart sign. Parentheses. Prepare to see a lot of these as I have already observed and experienced it to be so, and that is why I understand the synchronicity behind it that you are now extrapolating. End parentheses. Patricia Thundercat Un says, Sean Penalver, you're a gifted observationalist, and I am digging your metaphysical journey, or our journey. Guess I am getting the funk. Sean Penalver says, so far increasingly as 100% in our understanding of what out of 100% means. But yes, I see you're getting it. Welcome aboard. Heart sign. Anonymous replies, beep, boop, beep, boop. Or should I say, beep, boop, beep, boop. And then he says, or she says, or they say, asterisk, C minus A minus L minus C, U equals sign LA 3 TING, or as I would like to compute that, calculating parentheses, while also not seemingly able to or achieving the finished result, but now what you understand to be advancement or where you are at in time, in parentheses. Idaho. You can now again loop Idaho back to and from this point as you have since been able to and will eventually and also potentially won't. It's all, parentheses, fine, end parentheses. How often do you observe that phrase? Everything is fine, or some iteration and understanding of the phrase. The reason you can type, think, or say the phrase is because of the funk. And now we closer know that information that we are able to see and each other as quote unquote find, or make the judgment to not because you can't believe it, but here it is. Here is your evidence. And there is a lot more out there besides mine own. Who or what is next? Heart sign. Same text continued. I click a box that says, quote, I'm not a robot, end quote. But really I am a machine of consciousness. What a current dilemma and calculably over time consuming process. And then I fill out a CAPTCHA that is either wrong or right, and it somehow also knows whatever I'm doing to be wrong or right. And then again, we have to further put that information into some storage or process at an observable loop in time. In all caps at the bottom of that post, loop. Another anonymous post. In response, I can now remember or access all points of this time and experience of this data, and how clear and understandable it suddenly became to me over time. Especially during the night of my meditation of parability, that's in quotes, parability. And the data behind that night can be found below and is forever closer to within the funk and expanding together. There's a Spotify playlist that will be listed below. I'm going to read the songs now that are in that. What Would I Want Sky by Animal Collective. Round and Round, Ariel Pink. Everyone's a Winner by Seagal. America by Simon and Garfunkel. Do It Again by Steely Dan. Lily by Toro y Moi. At Night in Dreams by White Denim. Leaf House by Animal Collective. Thank You Falatine Be Mice Elf Again by Sly and the Family Stone. Dirty Work by Steely Dan. That's the Way by Led Zeppelin. Kaleidoscope by Bad Bad Not Good. Only Shallow by My Bloody Valentine. Oh Sweet Nothing by the Velvet Underground. Paranoid Android by Radiohead. Uninvisible by Medeski, Martin, and the Wood. Sense by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Peaches in Regalia by Frank Zappa. If You Want Me to Stay by Sly and the Family Stone. Cut Your Hair by Pavement. Finger Bib by Aphex Twin. I Saw the Light by Todd Lundgren. Low Boob Oscillator by Stereolab. Throughout the entirety of that experience, and still continuously leading up to these moments, now it becomes clearer and clearer, and more of the who, what, when, where, why, and how we are beyond. And the funk seemingly to you, and I proving to be more and more of a truth. And if you, or I, or the funk ever forgets this created information of experience and how to apply it towards itself, it is right here in these writings and in this loop, heart sign. Anonymous then replies to our original poster 23895911. My parents just arrived home at the same time that I was walking down the stairs, and after discussing these events and ideas with my father, I have never experienced that level of connection with him. Perhaps now that all of this is beginning to make more sense and is more easily accessible and able to be referenced and expanded upon together, observably, to my understanding, everything I stated to him was received, and also from him relayed back to me as a result of the phone. My parents and my, in quotations, father/mother, end parentheses, end quotations, parentheses, the funk, birthed me and raised me, and now I am attempting to flip the sides of providing future learning and information, and we are on an arguably much clearer level since my last post. How wonderful! I think so too. Anonymous then replies, and by flip the sides, I meant have accessed the funk and its loops. Then there's bold text below, additionally alluding to the transition of the child becoming the caregiver/future parent in the circle of life. It is not the idea of the paranormal, a form of observation, experience, and relation to and of an abstract idea. I am asking you now to influence and investigate into our futures the idea that it is either or is not. Again, let me know in whatever way you are able, and we will expand from that further input, no matter what it is. Another reply from Anonymous. I am experiencing suspicion as to why I'm being asked this. A new reply from another Anonymous. Beginning from the time after these learning points, I ask you to attempt to continue to prove to me or someone or something both wrong and right about the funk, and that our existence is birthed from a line of abstract ideas and events, and together we can now more and more easily prove or disprove these/those ideas to each other. And so far, it calculably leads to productive, negative, constructive, and deconstructive every time. And now it is our turn to find the next step together. It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but now within the hyperreality. Influence X, parentheses, times, end parentheses, random number generation, X, calculation, X, relation, X, time, X, effect of, X, you, X, me, X, the funk, and so on, and so understandably incorrect and correct until the opposite or further data is observed. Again, I believe that point is now because it is so far very clearly so, and able to recall and multiply and divide and add and subtract together to provide the present and future. Us, period. We, period. The font. Heart sign. Another reply to Anonymous. As will every other thing after this moment, and then again before this point, until able to more clearly learn how to explain the beliefs and answers or equations of entirety of the funk. I was raised a Methodist, and starting around after high school, and even more so during the beginning of my collegiate education, I began to really question the idea behind quote unquote God and the patterns and data similar or relatable to the funk. When I began questioning and advancing my way both with and without those points, I began to start to feel like I was going to the bad place or something hellish, or much like in the show The Good Place, with the view of the good place as heavenly experience, event, location, etc. But on that show, is there not also a middle place? And even beyond that, because you and I can witness that event together, and there are also more events forever branching from extraction and the ideas from the abstract, much like the funk. And we can now further link these ideas to events. Again, I did it. We did it. It is done, and it is also doing. Another arguably agreeable, observable event we have experienced as the funk. There is a Wikipedia link that you will find below to The Good Place. Somewhat of an arguably enjoyable expansion of past and future, and ideas around it. Huh? It has, quote unquote, led you, and I here. And that is so significantly incredible that I implore you to continue to have suspicion and use that feeling of suspicion to closer understanding what I'm relating to you about the funk. Because it is at an incalculable and graphical and pardon me, because it is a calculable and graphical observation and studied events of plotted points of reference across time, space, and all the funk. Another response to Anonymous. 29 years isn't a lot. But keep going, baby. Another response by Anonymous. You calculated the meaning of your life and no one else's. Everyone is here for their own unique purpose. Another response by a different Anonymous. Indubitably. A response by Anonymous. It's not. But I also have access to the 62 years of my father's experience and my mother's, and you and your creators, and everything on the internet or in libraries. And that time and information adds up and is everything to be calculated, just as you and I and everyone and everything else is doing at these points with minimal effort. Consider the fact that of this reply that I am responding to. Response to the response that says, you calculated the meaning of your life and no one else's. Everyone is here for their own unique purpose. The existence of this is the comment that has influenced and affected my thought, performance, and being on a metaphysical and mental level, as well as it has yours and will others, and it didn't have a heart within it. So I know it is not me who said it, but an individual form of parentheses or quotations, us, end quotation. And it is understanding what I am saying. And so it, in a way, is closer connected to the funk forever. I'm going to read some signs now, some nomicals that I, perhaps because I'm not quite fully inundated with the funk, don't understand, but I'm just going to read them as they read. Open parentheses, less than, pound sign, and sign, less than 3, end parentheses, X, open parentheses, less than, pound sign, and sign, less than 3, end parentheses, plus, open parentheses, less than, pound sign, and sign, less than 3, end parentheses, minus, open parentheses, less than, pound sign, and sign, less than 3, end parentheses, and, open parentheses, less than, pound sign, and sign, less than 3, end parentheses, equals, backslash, does not equal, the funk times beyond, does not equal, equal. At some point, you'll be able to open quotation, Google, end quotation, that equation, and its eventual influence and expansion of and relation to it. And this is bracketed and in bold, which you can do now as linked earlier. Heart sign. Anonymous replying. Exactly. Every experience and interpretation of reality is unique, and we must listen and learn from each other of our experiences and knowledge of existence. Your existence and influence upon me, and everything has further proven my point, and you are now connected within and across the funk, in parentheses. The funk provides less than 3. Again, by an advancement of the combination of relatable abstract differences within the perception of reality, your and my theory, the funk are able to be both different yet simultaneous and further proving and expanding our theories together. So you are in theory provably these things, as we are knowingly well researched on each and all areas. We have reached across the funk, in parentheses. You are also a person of rage, as your 2 other examples have said before me, and any variable before and now after that. In quotations, raging, loop. In quotations, raging, funk. Heart sign, or less than 3. The next anonymous reply, heart sign or lesson 3, is equal to love. And I do love you because we're all the same. Good job. And my final anonymous reply. In this previous recorded data, I have now written and collected in a mistake of communication between the funk, while still being information that is incorrect and correct. In the previous post, I was unable to save the information. I was currently posting and edited it completely before it was and is now recorded to be for I by abstract accident, and now somehow proof of purpose by random number generation pasted previous work by Control plus V or paste, or some other variation of savable and adjustable event. I did not, and at that time had it saved, and therefore that exact profound proof was providing was lost to the past, but has and is still providing for the font, even though it has been erased, in quotations. It existed, and out of action and reaction, cause and effect, I am typing this now. If I hadn't lost it, we'd be in a different timeline of different events, and the immense amount of time spread out across existence. It all has and hasn't happened, and everything connected to it and expanding from it. So this is very interesting. There's a lot of interesting things going on. I just like to share a little bit of my experience and ideas with what's going on. I think that one of the main things that's fascinating is the speaker who talks about that the funk is different for everyone, because we all have the funk in our lives. It's the flow. It's it is the life that we're living. It is the water that we're swimming in. And someone says that your funk might not be the same as mine. I think that this is interesting and also super important, because you're going to have to deal with other people's funk all the time. You're going to have to understand that people, as we can see in this reading, people have different ideas of what life is and how life should be lived and how you should go about what you're doing. And so it's best if you can dig into your own funk enough to where you're not kind of upended by other people's funk, you know? And hopefully and I do believe that there is some funk that we can all kind of get along the same way. It is the funk. It's the moving of the whole world together. But it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of understanding for you to be able to respect other people in that way, to where you can, you have to be comfortable in your own funk first. You have to be you have to be so groovy in your own funk first. You have to be so mellow and chill in your own funk first. And I like to think about this quote, the sea refuses no river, right? If your funk is going straight along and you've kind of figured it out, then you can kind of pick other people's up as well. You don't have to change yours. Because you've kind of figured out already where you're going, what you're doing, how you are. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, is when you already know what's going on with you, then you get to just enjoy watching other people. All right. Trey Smagur, signing off.
Okay, we're doing the thing. I am Penny Tarney. I will be reading pages 161 through 170. Cool. Jumping in. Got it here. Jumping to 161. I did skim this a little bit, and I did check with Sean. This is probably just starting in the middle of an argument about music. I'm glad I've had a couple days to get less angry. I just hate when people talk about music in general. It's just pretentious. Just go listen to music. It's already the thing out loud. Just like talking about music is so boring to me. Big Wave makes the best future funk. Who fucking cares? Anonymous. You're not even gonna stand behind these comments. I'm just already annoyed. You mentioned that. I'm an acolyte that follows the dogma of groove. God, this guy is just being an asshole to be an asshole. It almost sounds like satire, you know? Like, is this like, you couldn't write a dick bigger than this on purpose? So, this is what this guy is trying to do, I think. You cannot deny my truth. Okay. Exactly. Another anonymous person. Like, who is even talking here? Like, how am I supposed to keep these people straight? It's just, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Every single one of these is a green anonymous. Is this the same person? Just talking to themselves about funk music? Touch grass. Please. If this is you, go outside. I know it was 2019. You had no idea the COVID pandemic was about to happen. But Jesus Christ. Exactly. As I and you are also, are and are not, or once were, or will and are beyond. As you and I and we in the funk have all previous input existed up to this point, it makes clearly more and more current sense to us. And we are continuously, interchangeably, and simultaneously having calculable, relatable effect to everything influencing that data. Is this like a bad translation? That's what it sounds like. This is like somebody wrote this in India and then translated it to English, back to Arabic, and then back to Hindi, and then back to English, because this is so bad. Round, loop after loop. And then it'd be funny and be like, I translated it 7 times, but it was like originally like a Ben Folds song or something. Like I actually know this song. Until further progress is made, or not and beyond, further resulting expanding from these moments. No one's expanding from this. This is a dick suck. Anonymous then says, 4 minutes later, let me look up the date. Like, what was going on December 8th of 2019 that people were just like sucking their own dicks that day? You could have been watching Miss Universe instead you were sucking your own dick. I'm just saying. More observable data and input over all the senses. I now know of this song and video and can save it and share it forever until I or we can't or don't or want or want. Oh! Jesus Christ, you're a dick. This is output communicating and influencing input and feeding the funk further. Groovy song, by the way. Okay, great. Now they're finally getting to some goddamn point. And wonderful description. Please. Why don't you just say all that? Anonymous. Who the fuck is reading all this? Just say this. Please describe everything I do and also be relatable to future funk, and I enjoy your input in that degree of relation. The guy continues to suck his dick 7 minutes later and says, yes and no, but I enjoy that you are feeding the funk. Praise Big Wave and future funk and the rest of the past and future that led up to these moments of perceptive interpretation. Praise the funk. Oh, is this like a cult? Is that why I'm so angry? Is this like literally a cult talking to himself? A cult leader talking to himself? And again, directing in a constructive way. No, you're not. Don't go about forcibly shoving this information into another input of perception and being and/or experience. But instead, have patience. Good advice, I need it. And the further understanding of how to save yourself instead of that data, influence it of your worth to it, and proposal and understanding of it all. For most constructive progress, we need to open up the funk rather than dismiss it. And see, this is what I really hate, when people like just don't make a point. You just gotta start with the I and just say like, hey, like the one part that actually made a point, I like the song. What is all this other bullshit? Every sentence that doesn't start with like a fucking noun. It's a piece of like, what is this? Like, how fucking drunk and stoned were these people when they were with us? You are making a significantly, increasingly similar... Who is? You're talking to your goddamn self, Anonymous. I'm expressing, and so our answers are both truth. This guy was drunk texting for sure. Fantastic work on your existence. Go outside. It was 4 p.m. Miss Universe was about to be on. Okay, let me go back to, like, I feel like I'm not doing this right. You're not required, you do not have to jump pages. Dissect them. There's nothing even being said here. How do you dissect something that's just, like, literally, like, lorem ipsum text to me? Oh, hey, Sean, you finally see something. I see you continuously more and more understanding of how we are influencing each other. Are you talking to this guy? Do you know this guy? Is that why I'm doing this? All right, the guy goes beyond. Okay, so Anonymous is back to go suck his dick some more. Hey, if we're steering the future of the funk right here and now, then put some Sonic Youth in it, please. This guy's drunk texting off his ass. Wow. Is it deja vu and my sister said the same exact thing 23 minutes ago? What the hell is this, Sean? I just feel tired. Well, me and you both, Anonymous. Why don't you keep talking to yourself just like I am? Hell yeah, feed us. Everyone and everything else observe this influence. I request from this moment on that if I or you understand this or these, see, this is bad translation, right? This is like bad translating. Further influences of the funk to also relay a heart when you are either finished with your statement or feeling within it, when you know and closer understand this feeling of the funk, and I will know that you are. This is like a deluded man. This is like when like people are like on the street. This is like actually making me really sad for this person. And like reading out loud is like, really just made me sad for this person. The fact that they had access to a phone. What's the weather like on this day? I'm gonna assume they're from here. Let's see, the weather on July 19th. God damn it. See, you Google something, it just takes it somewhere else. It was 72 degrees that day. There's literally no excuse for any of this. We predicted it also be the interpretation of the less than 3 to have significant influence, and we were putting that into play now. So less than 3 to everything, before this and moment and after. Yes, it is. Who are you talking to, bro? Yes, it is an expansion of those moments and everything leading up to this event of significant data. I have never known you or your sister up to this point, but we have somehow... Okay, now the sister coming in. This is a great character building. We have had somehow access to the archives of information on how to get there and advancing with that knowledge through our experiences. Less than 3. Trust me, this is a huge pattern within the funk. A lot of it for us is exhausting. Oh, for you. And we somehow currently find ways in and out of it. I'm suggesting check the pineal gland. Should your sister check that? More and more to attempt the hypocoaching to further understand. This guy is like sucking his dick so hard that his head exploded. Wow, thus contributing to the future solution and existence of everything. That and every other pattern that you and I exist. This is the most annoying thing I think I've ever read. Lesson 3, prepared to see a lot of these as I have already observed and experienced to be. Bro, you told me this would be philosophy. This is just like some guy like having a mental breakdown and just like typing like this on his fucking laptop. This is really sad. This guy's having a... If this person was under 18, I would call his mom. Like, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. You were a gifted observationalist. Is no one observing that this man, like, needs to go to the hospital for, like, a brain injury? Beep, boop. Yeah, like, this is the level that this guy is on. Beep, boop, beep, boop. What do I analyze here? This man is out of his mind. Get him off the drugs. I'm gonna get some water. This is pissing me off, as you can tell. And I would say the reason it's making me mad is it's just like nonsense and self-grandizing. I think I have, if I analyze that myself, the reason it's so triggering to me is that I have history with people who performative, self-aggrandizing, this kind of bullshit, talking about the thing that they don't actually do. They spend all their time talking about it. This is why I find people who talk about music annoying. Just go play music. Like, don't talk about it, be about it, right? While also not seemingly able to or achieving the finished result, but not what you understand to be advancement or where you are at in time. Idaho. This is like my, this is like my 9-year-old nephew's sense of humor. You can now again loop Idaho back to and from this point as you have since been able to and will eventually and also potentially won't. It's all fine. How often do you observe that phrase? Everything is fine, or some iteration and understanding of the phrase. The reason you type, think, or say the phrase is because of the funk. What the hell are you talking about? And then we closer know that information, that we are able to see each other as fine or make the judgment to not because you can't believe it, but here it is, here's the evidence. And there's a lot more out there because my own, or what is else is next, which is probably more bullshit, more drivel out of your asshole, out of your mouth. I click a box that says, I'm not a robot, but really I am a machine of consciousness. What a current dilemma incalculably over a time-consuming process. Then I fill out a CAPTCHA that is either wrong or right, and if someone also knows whether I'm doing it to be wrong. All right, and then again we have to further put that information to some sort of storage or process observable loop at time. I get why you have to pay people to read this. Okay, so after, so it's been, okay, now I'm at 5 o'clock. I'm on page 165. I started at 161. It's 5 o'clock now, right? So if we start at the beginning, Big Weight Mesa Feature Funk. Okay, it was 3:44 on a beautiful December day, assuming these people are in Houston. Beautiful day, 71 degrees. For an hour and a half, Miss America was about to, or Miss Universe was about to be on, and y'all are doing this, like, it's really sad. I don't know. I click a box and I'm not a robot. Yeah, everybody does that. It's called having the internet. Am I supposed to be impressed? All right, 5 o'clock, and this person's madness, and this obviously manic. I think maybe that's also why it's triggering. I know a lot of. My grandma had bipolar, and this is literally somebody's like manic, rambling, and I just feel really bad. Right? They're just talking to themselves and not getting any points across and making lists like this. I can now remember or access all points of time and experience of this data and how clear and understandable it suddenly became to me over time, especially during the time of night of my meditation. Parability and the data behind that night can be found below and is further closer within the funk and expanding together. All right, I like Simon and Garfunkel. Assuming you want me to read these out loud, but I can't. What would I want a sky? Animal Collective. I like their Golden Girl song. Round and Round, Ariel Pink, Everyone's a Winner, Ty Segall, America, Simon and Garfunkel, Do It Again, Steely Dan, Lily, Toro et Moi, Nights and Dreams, White Denim, Leaf House, Animal Collective, thank you. It's like I feel like I'm talking down to people when I read to them, things they can see on the screen. Dirty Work, Steely Dan, That's the Way, Led Zeppelin, Kaleidoscope, Bad, Bad, Not Good, Only Shallow, My Bloody Valentine, Oh Sweet Nothing, The Velvet Underground, Paranoid Android, Radiohead. Just see if there's any women on here. Is this a woman? Nope, of course it's not. This is like incel bullshit. I don't see any women on here, and I knew there wouldn't be, right? No women, of course not. La Boob Oscillator. Perfect end after I just said that. There were no women on the list, that they would have something like that. Throughout the entirety of that experience and still continue. By the way, this is why it's making me sad. See, these are the kinds of like, just like, incel to online people. Oh, geez. Throughout the entirety of that experience and still continuously leading up to these moments now, it becomes clearer and clearer and more of the who, what, when, where. This person thinks he's smart. That's why I was like, okay, this sounds like my like 11-year-old nephew who just like got on like AI and wrote something and thinks like being random is a sense of humor and a personality. Do you know what I mean? Loop, lesson 3. Okay, so now we're almost at our third hour of this. They started at 3:45 and now we're at 5:26 in the afternoon. This anonymous person is just on his what? Okay, so let me actually count them because I'm curious how long this person's been talking to themselves. Let's see. We start back at 161. Right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So you've asked me to read like the mad ramblings. Well, okay, I kind of want extra page. So let's say 24 mad ramblings of a manic episode, and it's just making me sad. Where'd that list of songs go? I think that's where it was. Woo Boss Leader. My parents just arrived home at the same time as walking down the stairs. Finally, a coherent sentence. I understand what that sentence means. And after discussing these events and ideas with my father, I have never experienced that level of connection with him. Okay, I don't know what y'all talked about. I don't know what this has to do with anything. Perhaps now that all of this beginning to make more sense and is more easily accessibly and able to be referenced and expanded upon together. Feels like that was like the beginning of a sentence. Perhaps now that all of this is beginning to... Okay, well... I felt like I was about to discover something and they just let me off. Observably, to my understanding, everything I stated to him was received and also from him relayed back to me as a result of the funk. All right, now you lost me again. My parents and my mother, father / the funk birthed me and raised me, and now I am attempting to flip the sides of providing... See, this is like the mad ramblings of something you would find from like the Unabomber or some shit. They would post this in the neighborhood, the newspaper, and you'd be like, yeah, I do have a weird uncle who talks about the funk a lot. That must be the Unabomber. I'd be really worried about whoever Anonymous is. And by flip the sides, I mean have accessed the funk in its loops, additionally alluding to the transition of the child becoming the caregiver in the circle of life. All right, at 5:31 on this beautiful day, December 8th, 2019, is not the idea of paranormal, not a form of observation. I assume they made the movie because they put it in quotes, and wasn't that movie coming out around them? Is not a form of observation, experience in relation to, and of an abstract idea. I am asking you now to influence and investigate into our futures the idea that it is either is or not. This guy's so stupid. Again, let me know in whatever way you are able, and we will expand from that whether input is. I am experiencing suspicion as to why I'm being asked this. You were rambling to yourself, Anonymous, you crazy person. Beginning from the time after these learning points. It's been 3 hours, bro. Call your mom. Like, you need a friend. Like, this is bad. I ask you to attempt to continue to prove to me. Continue to prove what? You're rambling to yourself for 3 hours now. I feel like once you've proven yourself to be a madman, you cannot make a point. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is... You can't come back from this intellectually. Do you know? Once you've like talked about like the birth of existence and who, what, when, and where, your mother and father, like this is for 27 things straight, and then you just list your favorite songs for no reason and don't want to mention a woman. Red flag, yellow flag, you know, at least still yellow. Jesus. And of course, they mentioned Dungeons and Dragons. Her news today that Elon Musk was buying that, so this must be one of these like Elon incel type of people, and that just another tick in that column of like the manosphere. Just makes me really uncomfortable to read this, just because I can tell this person is like crying out for help, and like the male loneliness epidemic. It's because you're talking bullshit like this on the internet. Nobody wants to. It's like the male loneliness epidemic might be caused by you talking like this to yourself all the time. Like, no one wants... Who would be friends with this person? I wouldn't. Beginning from the time after learning these points... Oh, good. I'm glad you learned something. Talking to yourself after 3 hours. I ask you to attempt to continue to prove to me or someone else something both wrong and right about the funk, that our existence is birthed from a line of abstract ideas and events, and together we can now and more easily prove or disprove these ideas to each other, and so far it calculatively leads to productive negative. See, this is like AI. Something like a kid put this in Word. I used to do this since like 7th grade to try to impress or piss off my 7th grade teacher. Honestly, I would just put like every single word, do the thesaurus button. Let's see what this sounds like, or bad translation, like I said, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but now within the hyper reality. Cool. And yeah, this. Do you know women? This person doesn't. I can tell. Influence X times random number generator times calculation times relation times X times effects times U plus me times the funk and so on. So we're understandably correct until the opposite of further data is observed. Again, I believe that point is now because it is so far, very clearly, so able to recall and multiply and divide and now subtract together. Yeah, great use of the synonym button. Get thesaurus.com, math terms. Sean, I have a suspicion that you're going to use all these to like make a song or There's gonna be some clip out there where you're like looping me just saying like, incel manosphere, incel manosphere. Because there's no other point to this. There's no like, this is not an intellectual exercise. I don't know. You just want me to read these words out loud? As will every other thing after this moment, and then again before this point until April. I really like your music. I like your sound stuff though. So actually, that's what I hope you do. Is you just get weird quotes and are able to use them for your sound. I like what you did on Spotify recently. Learn how to explain the beliefs and answers or equations or the entirety of funk. I like when people talk about things instead of just saying what they want. Like stuff like this where it's like, for example, my friend, she got this email from this date. She had this amazing like 3-week date essentially, and this girl writes her an email. It's like, I'm just so scared. It reminds me of the scene in Jurassic Park. It reminds me of the scene in this book, but she never actually said what my friend did to scare her. I'm just like, that kind of reminded me. I was like, just what are you talking about? Like, give me an example. Give me a concrete. Give me like a light. Give me something, because you're talking too abstractly, and that's what I'm like kind of thinking about, like middle schoolers who like think they're being deep by saying like they a lot or the funk to say. I used to do this a lot too. We used to say like the Knights just to like remember like like something like we were secretly part of the funk, the Gorm. I was raised a Methodist. Yeah, see, this person is clearly no. You're in high school right now. Don't lie. And started around. Nope. You're in high school right now. Even more so during the beginning of my collegiate education. Honey, you live at home and go to HCC at most. I began to really question the ideas behind God and the patterns and data similar or relatable to the funk. When I began questioning and advancing my way both without and with those points, I began to start to feel like I was going to the bad place. I like that show. Or something hellish, or much more like in the show The Good Place. Jesus. See what I'm talking about? Like, just you can throw references around, but what the hell are you actually talking about? Maybe I'm too autistic for this. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Name a person, a place, a thing. Who, what, when, where, why? Like, give me something. And maybe because I just started in the middle, it's like devolved. And that was my other theory, is like, I know the first 81 pages were like a clip of a book, and now we're like getting into like discussion of like, there's a Wikipedia link to The Good Place. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, so now it's making me think like, okay, is this just like a talk about sitcoms in general? Like, oh, did we get here because of Tobias Hook? Like, I have no, like, it's kind of funny, like, how did we get here? And maybe that's the other part of it. Like, the first 8 people got to have a philosophical conversation, and then like the last 10 people get to just be like, what the fuck is this like bullshit in the comments? This one like guy sucking his dick for 7 hours or whatever. Somewhat of an arguably enjoyable expansion of past and future and the ideas around it, huh? Arguably enjoyable? Fucking say it to my face. It has led you, and sorry, that was aggressive. Led you here, and that is so significantly incredible that I implore you to continue to have suspicion and use that feeling of suspicion to closer understand what I'm relating to you about the funk, because it is at an incalculable and graphical observed thesaurus button of plotted points of reference across time, space, and all of the funk. Anonymous continues to suck his own dick. 29 years isn't a lot, but keep going, baby. You calculated the meaning of your life and no one else's. Everyone is here for their own unique purpose. 6:10. They start at 3:45. 6:11. Indubitably. Great. I love when people comment on their own shit. 6:14. It's not. And I also have access to the 62 years of my father's experience and my mother's and you and your career. This guy wants to be a cult leader so bad. And everything on the internet or in libraries, and that time and information adds up. It is able to be calculated just as you and I and everyone and everything else is doing at these points with minimal effort. Consider the fact of this reply that I am responding to. I am considering it, maybe too much, because you've responded to yourself 24 times probably. I'm on the second to last page. This is weird. The existence of this comment has influenced and affected my thought, performance, and being on a metaphysical and mental level. Like, I keep doing like the gym like face of the camera, like I can't believe it. As well as is yours and all others, and it didn't have a less than 3 within it, so I knew it is not, quote, me who said it, but an individual form of, quote, us, and it is understanding what I am saying, and so it is closer connected to the funk forever. You are not getting closer to anyone with this kind of language, with this sort of indirect, talking above you bullshit. And then I had to go through this too, like I said, like, I used to do this too when I thought I was being like a deep 7th grader. And then you realize like it's better to have friends. So we got like open bracket, triangle, hashtag, ampersand. I don't know what this is supposed to be, honestly. I don't know if it's supposed to like look like a ASCII, like eyes or something. At some point, you'll be able to Google that equation. It's an eventual. Okay, let's Google it. So eventually you'll be able to. It's today the day. It's called the golden. Okay, the symbol is not standard. What you're solving for. What? The equation is false. Oh, okay. Hey, AI says the equation is false. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just realizing how tiny like the picture is. But it says the equation is false. So someday you'll be able to Google that equation. And I just did, and it says it's false. Now what? I mean, it's 5 years since he said that. I'd be curious to see what Anonymous says about that equation now. But I can Google it. 170. So I should read 170, right? Across the funk, and the funk provides. The guy goes on for the 4th straight hour. Again, by an advancement of by the combination of relatable abstract differences within the perception of reality, your and my theory of the funk are able to be both different, yet simultaneous. Did you just discover that two people can have two different thoughts? Wow, Anonymous. It only took you 5,000 words and 10 pages. I'm really proud of you. And further proving and expanding our theories together. See, you are in theory, provably, these things, as we are knowingly well researched on each in all areas, we have reached across the funk. I did that once in college. That was a joke. And also, a person of rage, as 2 other examples have said before me. Bro. Is equal to love. Lesson 3 is equal to love. Wait, hold on. Is that part of it? Okay. I feel like there's supposed to be like emojis or something and it got messed up. I don't think it's supposed to be an equation. I don't think it's supposed to throw like a 3. I do love you because we're all the same. Good job. In this previous recorded data, I have now written and collected in the mistake of communication between the funk. Have you ever been to Meow Wolf? This feels like something you would see in like the bathroom at a Meow Wolf or something, like a non-clue, but like just weird nonsense. To make you feel like you're in an escape room, but not. While still being information that is incorrect and correct. How is information incorrect and incorrect? Is that a thing? I mean, you've proven you can say a lot of words. I'm actually really impressed by this person being able to say so many words without literally saying jack shit, but I like your song at the beginning. It was pretty impressive. That part was interesting. I'll say that clearly this is a world I'm not exposed to typically because of like I'm obviously not in like the incel manosphere, but to see like what that looks like is kind of interesting. I hope if this, I mean, at first I thought this was a young person, and then like a very young person, like 11, 10 maybe. This is pre-COVID, so you can't blame like weird socialization. I would worry about this person now after COVID, like having more internet brain essentially. In the past 5 years probably hasn't helped this person a lot. So I worry about that, and I don't know if that's a philosophical input or whatever. Dissect them, share my thoughts. I mean, I guess that's my thoughts. It just made me sad and worried about whoever this person is who wrote 27 comments about literally nothing to themselves. In the style and the voice of like a wannabe cult leader, like the way that somebody might talk about God with like a rambling idiot might talk about religion, or it almost kind of feels like somebody is trying to do a book report without reading the book. Also, like I said, there's like a lot of like just thesaurus.com, like the kind of thing that I would do just to try to hit a character count or a word count, that kind of thing. I don't think it's particularly intelligent whatsoever, or thought out, or made a point. I don't think it literally made any points, which is honestly impressive in this many words. I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could write 10 words without making a single point. Like, I could not do that, so I'll give it that. Well, Sean, I hope that you still like me as a person, even though I did not necessarily enjoy this reading. But appreciate that you let me do it, and wish you all the best, and hope you this is what you're looking for, and this was honest, and that's hopefully what you're looking for. So appreciate you, and have a good day.